Three, two, one. Hello, I'm Christopher Herring, and welcome to Global Chamber San Antonio. Today we have a very interesting and great webinar, or what we call Globinar. Our network meeting really dealing with the continent of Africa, and today we're going to explore Egypt. Today we have a very special guest. Actually, she's a part of our Global Chamber San Antonio board, Lily Gindi. And Lily is from Cairo, Egypt. And so today we're going to hear from her. I'm going to share with you very quickly what we do in the Global Chamber, so you can be familiar with what our mission is and how we accomplish our mission. And again, there will be some other visitors that will join us today, and Lily will provide introductions. And we'd like to thank her for organizing today's virtual business networking. I want to thank Edwards Aquifer Authority, who has been the presidential sponsors for this chamber. Thank you for helping us to keep Global Chamber San Antonio at the forefront of the community. Additionally, I'd like to thank new member CPS Energy. Very quickly, Global Chamber is established in 525 metropolitan markets around the world. We have a motto of being global and unstoppable, and my contact information is there. I just really enjoy my position as executive director to be able to promote a chamber membership that allows us to connect businesses and cross-border relationships. And this is so important. This is why we're able to have a conversation today talking about Egypt and its impact on the world and the business world. When we say 525 metropolitan markets, we're talking about having reach, contacts, access, exposure, information, visibility, and ultimately growing what we call a global tribe. And we want you to be a part of that global tribe. Our vision for 2025 is really to penetrate and to make sure that the Global Chamber's message is hitting the 40 million people that we're already connected to through artificial intelligence, the 100,000 organizations, and of course, these are all in your markets around the world. The tall guy in the picture there is our founder, Doug Brunke. He did a great job with the vision of being able to connect this chamber around the world. The benefits of joining our chamber, very simple, they're there. Strategic connections, access to VIP experiences. You know, if you were a member of Global Chamber and you saw another chamber event in another metro market, whether in the United States or outside of the United States, you could sign up for that event for free. And that's one of the benefits of being a Global Chamber member. You can also take advantage of our directory, and you can network with members all around the world without asking your chamber president for permission. I like that because that takes the phone calls away from people calling me. We have a great website. If you go to globalchamber.org and you hit the events tab, you will see a calendar, and it has all of the events that are planned for the day. Every business owner should have access to our Global Chamber events calendar, because we're here to help scale your businesses up and to connect you with people from around the world. Our mayor of San Antonio spoke to us at the International State of the Metro. He had a great message. I encourage you to find that message on YouTube. You can simply search Global Chamber San Antonio, and you'll see the International State of the Metro awards and the state address that the mayor provided. I have two chairs. I have a founding chair, Dr. Crystal Nedio, who helped to give birth to this chamber a couple of years ago. And she is now going to step back in 2021. And we have Jorge Canavati, who is an international business guru, who's going to chair, and we're looking forward to that. I always want to thank the board and the staff for being so supportive as we've been going through this COVID-19 and doing more and more events virtually. Thank you to all of you today who are watching this. This is so important to help you understand how you can grow your business across the world. We've had an international virtual business network event when we focused on Europe, and Monica from the Czech Republic actually gave us a very good outline in terms of how we were going to present information. And so today Lily will follow with a very informational presentation that will allow us to know more about Egypt. We had one international virtual business network event for Africa, and that was also, I think, exceptional. Charles O'Neill, who is the president and CEO of the Texas Association for African American Chambers of Commerce, led the discussion. He's also serves as the U.S. Black Chambers chairman of the board. And we had a conversation with my deputy, Joel Ingaloo, to talk about Africa and how Africa is very much open for business, and open for business with people who can connect from our 525 metro markets. Today, we're going to have this information session by Lily. So Lily, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm not sure if you can all see me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. And you can hear me well?
Yes.
Awesome. So let's start. We are going to have a guest or two joining us later. Christopher, I think they're having trouble accessing the link. I sent them the ID and everything, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work. But let's start. So my name is Lily, and I'm actually from Egypt. Cairo is the capital. I was born and raised there. And I live here in San Antonio now. I'm known for being part of Dream Week San Antonio, and that's a summit that happens every January. How can I flip the presentation?
Yes, you can do so with your arrows up and down. You can try it right now.
It's not working here. I think because you have it on your computer.
Do you want to share your slides? Or I can advance. Just tell me to advance.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, next slide. Thank you. So yeah, I was saying Dream Week 2020. And Dream Week San Antonio is a summit that happens every January. Every January around the Martin Luther King holiday, a week before and a week after. It's basically about creating an environment for civil and civic engagement. It's also helping fostering this exchange, the free exchange of ideas, and offering individuals just an opportunity to find themselves and to being part of contributing to the whole community. So the summit, actually, we reach out to partners around the community. We have a lot of community leaders and community organizations participating. What we do is they host an event for Dream Week, and it has to follow our theme for that year. So for Dream Week 2021, we have our theme is Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. We're going to have it from January the 14th to the 24th. And we encourage partners to have virtual events. But our theme is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, where we want our community leaders to reflect that in the way, in their events, discussing how we can find peaceful resolutions and healing for our community. There's an open call for partners who want to participate. The deadline is November 29th. So any partner, any community partner or a community organization who would want to be part of Dream Week, there is no charge. You can just find the application online at the website. It's dreamweek.org or www.dreamweek.org. You can find the application, click on participate, fill in the application with the date and the time of your event and what is it going to be about. The application is still open. Hopefully by the end of November, we're going to be able to assess how many events we have so far and work on the promotion of those events. Usually in Dream Week, we have few events that Dream Voice is the organization presents, and one of them is the opening. And in the opening, we usually do an opening breakfast where we invite a keynote speaker to address the theme of the year. Our closing out is the a mayor ball, so it's a ball in honor of the mayor. And we introduce talents and acts from the San Antonio community. And it shows how rich the community is. So that was a brief about Dream Week. And now we're gonna go a little bit to Africa and our conversation. So the next slide is basically talking about Africa. And so Africa is a very big continent. I think it's next slide. It has 52 states and it has over 1 billion people living in that continent. Africa is considered the world's second largest continent after Asia. And basically it's 11.7 million miles. So it's 6% of the Earth's total surface and 20% of the land of the Earth. So it's humongous, it's big, and it's 16% of the population of the whole world as well. So, and the continent itself is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean from the west, the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean from the east, and the Mediterranean from the north, I forgot that one, and the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean from the south and the east as well. So next slide will show you the true size of Africa. And usually when you go Google the map of the world and you will see Africa, it will look literally smaller than the United States. But if you do a research and find out about the area and the population, you will find out that actually the true size of Africa can be over the United States, China, and India together. So it also include a lot of other European countries. So this drawing is just showing how big it is. So some of the countries are actually like just turned around to fit in the shape of the African continent, but it's China, USA, India, Mexico, Spain, Sweden, Germany, Norway, and you go on. That's the size of the African continent. And the next slide will show you the comparison in the size between the United States and Africa. And it's just a projection showing how big the African continent is.
Wow.
The next slide will be talking about the two largest cities in Africa. And the first one is Lagos, Nigeria. And it actually has over 21 million people living in its metropolitan area. And the second one is Cairo, Egypt, where I come from, and it has around 20.5 million people in its metropolitan area. And as you can see in the map, you see now the Mediterranean is on top, the Atlantic Ocean is on the west side, Indian Indian Ocean is on the south side, and then the Red Sea actually is on the east side. So Africa has a very unique location, and so as Egypt as well, because Egypt, as you can see, is on the top right corner of the whole continent. So it ties the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, with Asia, and also Europe. The economy is believed to hold 90% of the world's cobalt, and I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. And 90% of platinum of the whole world, 50% of the gold, 98% of its chromium, and 70% of, 64% of the magnesium, and 1/3 of uranium of the whole world. So it's a very rich, actually, continent. The next slide will show you a little bit about Egypt specifically, where I grew up, and it's a video, so I think we need to click on it to show Christopher.
Okay.
Thank you. Is it working?
The next slide has advanced.
Oh, no, actually, we have to go back to the previous one and just click on the video display. Maybe you can do escape, get out of the full screen, and then try and turn it on.
I will.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Lily at this point while I try to do that? Joelle?
Well,
I would ask just real quick about Dream Week specifically. How can young individuals find out more information about them? Is there a link that they could go to, or is there like something I could direct them to specifically?
yes, so it's actually www.dreamweek.org. There's all the information there. So if the individual or the organization would love to volunteer, sponsor, or would love even to host an event, all the information is there. So it's www.dreamweek.org or dreamvoice.org, and the presenters of Dream Week.
Okay, I'm gonna now run the video.
Okay, let's see if it's gonna work. Okay.
Lily, at this time, would you like to introduce your guest? Why?
Yes. Okay. So I'm actually very, very happy that we have Ambassador Khalid Mohammed Rizk. He's the Consul General in Houston. And Mr. Rizk was born in Egypt. And he has a very solid diplomatic international background through his experience and his what he has done in the past. He was appointed as the Consul General of Egypt in Houston in November 2018. He also worked as a diplomat in Egypt, Italy, Algeria, Namibia, South Africa, London, Houston, and Australia. Mr. Rizk has been married for 28 years, and he has 2 sons, and he speaks several languages like French, English, Italian, and he also loves soccer, tennis, and swimming. I got that. Mr. Khalid is the, as I said, the Consul General from Houston, and he will be sharing some remarks with us later. But I would love to thank you for being here, and thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Good.
Awesome. I know there was a little bit of trouble accessing the meeting, but I'm very glad that you were able to make it. Thank you. Okay. So basically, I'm not sure if you were able to see the video clearly, but Egypt is a very beautiful country. It's my home country, so I'm very passionate about it. And Cairo is the capital. And Egypt is officially called the Arab Republic of Egypt. And it is, it's in the northeast corner of Africa. And Egypt is also considered a Mediterranean culture because it's actually, it has the Mediterranean Sea on the north. And it's also considered a Middle Eastern country just because we also part of the Middle East and North Africa. So the culture in Egypt is very well diverse, and we are considered Middle Eastern, we're considered Arabs as we speak Arabic as a language, and we are also considered Mediterranean. However, I had to pick in the census while filing my census application that Egyptians actually fall under the white category, and that was the kind of like strange to me because I'm not sure how would I consider myself white, and I am not sure why Egyptians, while they're part of the African continent, are considered white. I also had to do my my license, license in Texas, and I also had to pick between white, black, Asian, or Hispanic, and it's just 4 options. There is no others or anything, and that was very interesting because Egyptians are should have their own race. They have been through so many years of, like thousands of years of civilization, and considering them white is not necessarily culturally speaking or politically speaking is correct. The next slide is actually showing the map, and if you can point at Egypt, Christopher, it's in the right corner by the Red Sea, yes. And so as you can see, our neighbors from the west, Libya, Algeria, Morocco, and then from the east side or the right side, we share the borders with Israel and Palestine. We also, it's very close to Saudi Arabia and South Asia. On the top, there is Turkey and then the Mediterranean, and we faced Italy, Spain. In the south, you can go down to the south to Cape Town, South Africa. So if you are by chance traveling to Turkey or you're going to Europe, it's a very short flight, and you can be in Egypt, and you can, you know, if you have a long transit or something, come and check Egypt. It's very beautiful. The next slide talks about the population. So Egypt population is 101,490,000 people as of 2019, and Egypt is considered one of the earliest civilizations, if not the earliest civilization. There's a lot of, you know, going back and forth with that, but all the monuments that have been even discovered lately just shows that how old the civilization is, more than even 7,000 years ago. Arabic is the most spoken language in Egypt. Modern Standard Arabic is the language of reading and writing. So if you go to school, you're going to start learning Modern Standard Arabic. If you want to hear the news or read the newspaper, it's the same Modern Standard Arabic. However, the people, they have their own dialect, which is called the Egyptian Arabic dialect. And it's kind of a little bit different from the Modern Standard Arabic. And it has the influence of the Turkish people, Coptic, the Ottoman Empire, and the French as well. So it's influenced by so many other languages, even the Italian. Cairo, Egypt, and Egypt in specific is very famous in the Arab world through the film industry. And it's basically, it's Hollywood of the Middle East or the East. So all the Arab-speaking countries will look for, you know, what movies, songs, literature. They all know the Egyptian dialect just because they follow all the film industry and media as well. Cairo, as I mentioned before, is the city. It's actually not this slide. Yes, that's one. Cairo is the capital. It has over 20 million people living there. Its metropolitan area has the Sphinx, the Great Pyramid, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world. And it also, as I mentioned earlier, Cairo is the largest it is the 2nd largest city in Africa. The next slide is talking a little bit about the economy. So the GDP was 250 billion as of 2018. And mentioning the economy, it's very, people are predicting that Egypt is going to be the 6th strongest economy in the world by 2030. And one of the reasons why is there is a big difference between the dollar and the Egyptian pound now. So $1 is around 15.65 to 16 pounds, Egyptian pounds. And so it's a very cheap labor and cheap investment for a foreign business. So talking about investment, there's a lot of opportunities in Egypt, and so many sectors that have been proven being successful and moving forward and developing the country and the economy of the whole region. But let's first look at, before I mentioned the opportunities, I want to look a little bit at the Egypt's ranks. So according to the New Economic Foundation, 2006-2007, Egypt ranked the number 63 out of 125 countries in the Global Competitive Index. It also ranked the number 97 out of 178 according to the New Economics Foundation Happy Planet Index. It ranked number 27 in the number of people using the internet, 27 out of 195, and it ranked in general number 93 out of 140 according to the World Economic Forum's Global Index. So these numbers are great. I see how much they are progressing into putting Egypt on the map for global economy. Now we're going to mention some of the industries that are helping the economy in the region. So the first one is tourism, and tourism is one of the most important sectors in Egypt's economy. It has more than 12.8 million tourists visit Egypt. Actually, that's an old number because it's 2008, but I'm sure it's maybe at least double, if not more. It's $11 billion industry, 12% of the people working in Egypt as well. And they generated like 9.4 billions in 2012. And that was an increase from 2011. The other industry is actually artisans and craftsmanship, and there's a lot that was inherited from the ancient Egypt. A lot of skills, a lot of skills that was learned and mastered from that time. So 7,000 years ago, there are so many things that are still staying the same, and some of it is the skilled labor who inherited how to do handcraft, and they do handcraft for jewelry, for copper and silver and gold, handcrafts for wood, for leather, and it's very famous. So if you go as a tourist and you go to the market there, they call it Khan al-Khalili, you will find all these handcraft products and souvenirs that you can buy for your friends and for your family, even for yourself. So the next slide shows some pictures of things that are made in Egypt. So basically it's a variety of products, as I mentioned earlier. And the next slide also shows one of the things that I bought actually from Egypt, which is a chessboard. And this chessboard is actually having the shapes of the Egyptian pharaohs, and it's made of metal, so it's very heavy. It's like six kilos, maybe more. And the board itself is made from the seashells and pearls, and so it's beautiful. These things are so beautiful, and it's a very good industry. But mentioning some more industries, we have agriculture, and since Egypt has something similar to the river walk here, but it's the Nile River, and it's actually it's a very long river that's from the delta, which is in the north, to the south of Egypt, going to Ethiopia and other countries also to the south of Africa. So we have a saying that we say usually about Egypt, and we say it's the gift of the Nile. And this is because there's a lot of the population were around the Nile, and they used to do a lot of agriculture. It's a very important sector for the economy. 21.4% of the employment in Egypt is in the agriculture sector. And then we have the communication and information technology, which is CIT, that's the abbreviation. And this sector actually includes, IT, computer, hardware, software, web, and now web design and web developing, application developing, like mobile application developing as well. And this sector is actually very growing, and it's getting the attraction from a lot of foreign investment just because of the cheap labor. So we can literally hire someone for between $400 to $800 a month, and that's very cheap for a lot of people. The third sector that can invest in is financial and insurance services. And Egypt is trying to go forward in that sector and offer a lot of great performance, helping the investors, especially banks and insurance companies, to grow their business in the country. Mining is an important one as well, and we have a lot of minerals that varies in quality, in quantity, and distribution and location as well. The next one is oil and gas, and it can also fit under mining, but Egypt is the largest non-OPEC oil producer in Africa, and it's the second largest gas producer and the fifth largest oil producer, and the largest crude oil refining capacity in Africa. So it's a very growing business down there, and I think it's because of the location as well. There's a lot of desert on the sides, especially on the in the west side, and that helps so much in the oil industry. The sixth is the real estate, and Egypt is trying to is working on so many projects for infrastructure and for also real estate as well. One of them is actually they are going to move the capital, or maybe just create a new capital. So it's east of Cairo, Egypt, and this capital is a smart capital. It's a huge project that started maybe 2015, and it's humongous. It's if I'm remember correct, 170 acres, and it's a big thing. But also there's there's a big population and a lot of investment. So there's always a market for consumers to buy real estate or sell at the same time. Leather goods, and that falls under handcrafts. And Egypt and Cairo is the largest consuming market in Africa, and so there's a lot of potential in that sector as well. The automotive, so Egypt ranks at the top of the list globally for auto assemble. So auto assemble, and I think it's like 17% of the assembly of the car itself, but they're trying also to create a competition in Morocco and the north of Africa, so they can get more business into North Africa in general. One of the big projects that's going in Africa that Egypt was leading in 2015, it's called the Pan-African Highway. And this highway is actually going to tie Cairo, Egypt, which is in that corner, the northeast corner, to Cape Town, South Africa, down like by the end of the continent, but also going to create other routes to, for example, Nigeria, to Lagos, to Dakar. So basically it's a huge project that's taking place since it was actually launched in June 2015. It's going to be 6,400 miles, and probably my guess will take you driving nonstop like 6 days, but of course if you stop maybe like maybe 10 to 15. But it's amazing how you can connect the whole continent, and people can ride and drive to see different countries around Africa. Each country is taking the responsibility, the logistics and the financial responsibility to create their own part of the highway. So it's a big project that everybody is participating in, and that will create a lot of opportunities in Egypt. The next one is what I was mentioning, the new capital. It's a short video about the new capital. It's translated, it has English subtitles was actually the person speaking Arabic, but has the English subtitles. So hopefully you will be able to follow that one.
هو المشروع القومي الأكبر في مصر. العاصمة الإدارية الجديدة تبلغ مساحتها نحو 170 ألف فدان، أي 4 أضعاف مساحة واشنطن.
170 acres.
مساحة مدينة سنغافورة. أعلنت
4
الحكومة
times Washington's area.
في مارس عام
and bigger than Singapore.
2019 تخفيف الزحام عن العاصمة وفتح آفاق جديدة للتنمية. تقع العاصمة الجديدة شرقي القاهرة، وخططت لتكون مدينة سكنية متكاملة الخدمات، وأيضا منطقة استثمارية ومقرا للبرلمان والرئاسة والوزارات الرئيسة وكذلك السفارات الأجنبية. وطبقا لمخطط العاصمة الإدارية سيتم تخصيص 30% من مساحة العاصمة الإدارية الجديدة لخدمة قطاع الأعمال، تتمثل في مدينة المال والأعمال، كما تضم المدينة 20 حيا سكنيا تتسع لنحو 6.5 مليون نسمة، ومطارا دوليا بمساحة 33 كيلومتر مربع، وشبكة طرق رئيسة بطول 650 كيلومتر، إضافة لخطوط النقل الجماعي كالسكك الحديدية والمترو. يضم المشروع أيضا تجمع محمد بن زايد الشمالي ومركز المؤتمرات ومدينة المعارض والحي الحكومي، والذي يتضمن 18 مبنى وزاريا ومبنى للبرلمان، إضافة لمباني مؤسسة الرئاسة ومجلس الوزراء. هناك أيضا مدن متكاملة كالمدينة الذكية والطبية والرياضية والترفيهية، بالإضافة إلى مدينة الفنون والثقافة التي تم تنفيذها على مساحة 127 فدانا، التي سوف تضم بدورها دارا للأوبرا ومسرحا للموسيقى ومتاحف خاصة بالفنون المصرية. وصفت العاصمة الجديدة بأنها أول مدينة ذكية عربية بمراعاتها أحدث معايير الإنشاء، حيث خصصت 40% من مساحتها للسكن واستيعاب 6.5 ملايين إلى 7 ملايين سماء دون زحام. وصممت العاصمة الجديدة ليكون نصيب الفرد 15 مترا مربعا من المساحات الخضراء. فيها حديقة مركزية كبيرة تسمى كابيتال بارك، طولها أكثر من 10 كيلومترات، ما يعادل مساحة الحديقة المركزية بنيويورك 2.5 مرات. وتضم العاصمة الجديدة أيضا نهرا أخضر بطول 35 كيلومترا، مرتبطا بجميع أحياء وجامعات المدينة ليحاكي نهر النيل بمدينة القاهرة. ويعتبر النهر أكبر محور أخضر في العالم، يحتوي على حدائق مركزية وترفيهية بدخول مجاني على مساحة 5000 فدان. أما المباني فسيغطى 70% منها بألواح الطاقة الشمسية. أما الطرق فقد خصصت 40% منها كي تكون مصممة للمشاة ومسارات للدراجات. تضم العاصمة الجديدة أيضا مسجدا يعتبر من أكبر المساجد في العالم، تجاوره كنيسة هي الأكبر في الشرق الأوسط. تصل التكلفة الإجمالية لمشروع العاصمة الإدارية الجديدة نحو 800 مليار جنيه، واعتمدت النسبة الأكبر في التمويل على القطاع الخاص واستثمارات الشركات الكبرى بالمدينة. وفيما تشهد مصر طفرة عمرانية استكمالا لمسيرة التنمية، تظل العاصمة الجديدة نموذجا يحتذى في التصميم والبناء وفق أعلى المعايير العالمية، حتى وصفت بأنها بوابة مصر نحو المستقبل.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, that's an impressive video.
I'm sorry?
That's a very impressive video. I'm sure
Yes, I
the
can't wait to see this fully, but it's going to be one of the biggest also cities and biggest projects. It's going to be very smart. It has a lot of potential for investment and business opportunities as well. I hope you were seeing the subtitling. Was it showing?
Yes, it was.
Okay, cool. And one of the main projects as well for next year is going to be the opening of the Grand Museum. And it's the next, yeah, those are some pictures. So the Grand Museum is going to be 5,200,000 square feet. And this is why it's called the Grand Museum. It's going to be the biggest on Earth, and it's actually the size of like a major terminal at the airport. It's 120 acres. It's going to have a collection of between 50,000 to 100,000 pieces, and some thousand of the pieces will be displayed for the first time. It's going to be a huge event for 2021. Of course, they were planning to open it this year, but with COVID hit, it was kind of hard. But next year, we are very excited because we are also going to take a group of San Antonio to go for the opening of the museum. And hopefully also like the mayor can join. And I know there's so many people who are actually excited, and they're like, oh, can you add me to the list, please? I want to go and see the opening. I want to go and see the opening myself because it's very exciting. It's humongous. There's a video in the next slide. No, actually before the video, so if any of the participants is interested in joining our trip, you can send an email to info@dreamvoice.org. Again, it's info@dreamvoice.org, and we can add you to the list. And we will announce once Egypt announce when the opening would be. The next one is actually
Lily.
Yes.
I hope you have your executive director of the Global Chamber already signed up.
Of
thank
course.
you.
Yes, you're on top of the list. So the last video is going to be from the Ministry of Investment, and it's talking about the opening of the permit. I'm sorry, the opening of the museum.
Wow.
Okay, and that's the end of my presentation. And I may take questions later, but I would also would want to Ambassador Khaled Risk to join us with some remarks.
Thank you, Ambassador, for joining us today.
Yes, it is my pleasure. And I would like to thank, first of all, for her introduction and the kind words she said about me. And first, in my little speech, I would like to focus a little bit on the investment, which is very important to us, because as you know, Egypt now is building, it's booming, the business is very good, and we are encouraging now everyone to come and see for himself and work with us for the benefits of all. So I would like first from the beginning to thank the organizer, of course, Lily and all the team, to reach us at the consulate. And actually our consulate in Houston welcomes all efforts to engage communities and build the bridges between the USA and Egypt and strengthen the relation between both nations. Egypt has went through turmoil the last decade, as you all know, but emerged stronger and more focused on the overall development of the nation. Enhancing our economy is the main focus of our government in Egypt. Economy is one of the largest and most developed in the Middle East and Africa region, making it attractive to many international investors. In Egypt, we understand that attracting foreign investment is an important tool to generate jobs and create more diverse, dynamic economy. That's why the government implemented the new investment law assuring fair and equitable treatment for both foreign and local investors, securing the right to repatriate profits and receive international finance without restrictions, guaranteeing a residence permit for foreigner for a durable during the investment project. The new investment law I talked about is the number 72 issued in 2017, guarantees a number of protections for international investors to encourage new development in Egypt. Foreign investor would receive, let me talk about, give you a little idea about tips about this new law. The foreign investor will receive the same treatment under law as Egyptian nationals, and they may be guaranteed preferential treatment with approval from the Council of Ministers. Investments will not be governed by arbitrary procedures or discriminatory decisions. Investment project will be not nationalized. No administrative authority can revoke or suspend investment project license without proper warning, due process, and time to correct any issues. Foreign investors are guaranteed residence in Egypt during the term of the project. Investors have the right to transfer their profit abroad. Investor projects may include up to 10% foreign employees and up to 20% of for investment companies. Foreign employees of investment companies have the right to transfer their compensation abroad. The incentive of the invest or that law offers to attract global investors, the law contains policies to encourage significant and targeted investment. Companies will receive a 2% overall custom tax exemption on the value of imported equipment and machinery. They will also be exempted from stamp tax and registration fee on articles of association, mortgage, loan agreements, and land contract notarization related to their investment. The new law provides deduction from taxable net profit according for a forthcoming investment map that will identify investments area as sector A and B. Investor will receive a 50% discount of investment cost in sector A and 30% discount of investment cost in sector B for specified priorities of activities. Egypt Council of Ministry may decree additional incentives which will be awarded by the Head of General Authority for Investment and Free Zones, GAFI. These may include subsidized utilities, the allocation of land free of charge for strategic activities, and other incentives. Some of the new features of the law investment: the unified approval, company undertaking strategic or national interest project, either as a public-private partnership or related to public utility, infrastructure, new and renewable energy, roads and ports, are eligible to receive a single approval to cover the establishment, operation, and manager of their project. This will include the building license and allocation of real estate for all projects. The investor will be able to obtain all license from GAFI and will not need to interact with any other authority. GAFI will provide incorporation and post-incorporation services, will collect all fees from the applicant, and will decide on completed incorporation application within 1 business day of their submission. GAFI will also establish electronic means by which incorporation activities may be conducted. Private sector approval offices that are licensed and accredited by GAFI will assist and represent investors before government authorities. The Prime Minister may designate geographic areas for specific development include logistics, agriculture, and industry. In areas designated for communication and information technology, equipment for these enterprises will not be subjected to taxes or customs duties. Investment map. Gafi will prepare a map to identify special investment zones, needed investment project, and government-owned land available for investors. Let me just give you an idea here. This new law, the law that was issued in 2017, tried to solve all the problems that were in previous laws to facilitate for investors to come and work with ease and make the investor comfortable to work in Egypt very easily and offers them all the incentives and all the assist needed to have their projects in Egypt. The last thing here is an independent regarding the dispute resolution. An independent arbitration and mediation center will have the authority to pursue the settlement of investment dispute that arise among investors and state authorities. A ministerial committee will be established to review complaints and dispute between investor and state authorities. Committees within Gafi will examine complaints against resolution issued in accordance with this law. In a nutshell, this legislation designated to attract FDI and ensure the investor that their economic activities in their country is lucrative and secure. Our government in this period of time is encouraging all the companies to come and inviting them to come and see how is the business environment in Egypt and encourage them to have their project and invest in Egypt. I hope I was not too long, not boring also, and I thank you very much for having me in this Zoom meeting. And of course, if there is any question, I will be ready to answer. And thank you for once again.
Thank you, Ambassador. And we know that you're based out of Houston. Have you been to the Alamo City of San Antonio, Texas?
I have been there, yes, and took some picture also. Yes, I visited San Antonio several times. It's a very nice city. I liked it a lot. And I hope I will be able to visit again.
I like what Lily had said earlier about our Riverwalk and being the tourist attraction. I was looking at the map that she showed of Egypt, and when I looked at it, it seems as though there's like a small percentage of the land mass that's used by the people, but then you have lots of desert. Can you explain how do you go about expanding the growth of Egypt based off of that? I guess it's like 5.5% of the landmass that's used for the people, or are you looking at that other 94.5% of the land to use for other types of economic development?
It is there, yes, of course, but not all of it, because the desert is really big, huge. But let me give you a little background to know how things are. Egyptian people from the beginning, from the beginning of the civilization, they used to live around the Nile. So if you have a look on the population, you'll find them all gathered around the bed of the Nile. If you go a little bit on the west or on the east, you have a desert. So the new vision is to expand, because we have, the areas where population is very crowded now, and it's very difficult to live in this environment. So the governor is expanding, trying to build new cities, and a little bit in the west where the desert is, or in the east, to allow people to live a bit freely. It's too crowded to have people just in a very small area around the Nile. So, and also it's opportunity to cultivate new land and build new projects and create new communities, which is a good for a big population like a population of Egypt. So vision is to expand because our population is growing fast. So we need to have to create space, jobs, and for these people. So this is the vision, and that's why we are encouraging people and inviting them to come and see what they can offer, and of course for their also for their own benefit. I mean, it's very profitable to come and invest in Egypt these days. As Lily mentioned before, you have labor; it's a cheap labor, and it's a very good opportunity. And this is our job to try to encourage you to come.
Thank you, Ambassador. Joe Ingaloo is my deputy director, and he has a question. He is originally from Congo, and he's in a graduate school program here in San Antonio at the UTSA. Joel.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Chris. Mr. Chris, first I just want to say I love the presentation, Lily. I love how Egypt is like the melting pot of Africa. You have dark-skinned Egyptians, you have light-skinned Egyptians, you know. So I love that. And I love how you said basically in like next 10 years the economy is going to catch up. How can a young entrepreneur, let's say I wanted to invest in buying land or something, how can someone do that practically? Where would they need to go directly? Like who they need to contact? Things like that of nature.
Well, let me first tell you that our consulate here, this is one of the main job of our consulate, is to work as intermediate between the people who wants to work and the Egyptian government. So, of course, we will be more than happy to assist in this regard, and we will give you contacts and people who can help and give you all you need if you are ready to come and invest and work there. All the information we'll have, all the connections we can also provide, and just come and visit us, and we will help.
Okay, so it's through the embassy. It's through the embassy.
We have also an office in our embassy in Washington, but we still have some consulate. We have 4 consulate in the States. We have our consulate in Houston that covers the southern states, 11 states. We have a consulate in Chicago. We have another one in Los Angeles that covers the western side, and in New York that covers the northern and the eastern side.
Right.
So any of the consulate, it depends on the area where you are. So for yourself, Houston, of course, is the closest. So you are most welcome anytime. Just contact us and come and visit. I don't know if you come frequently to visit Houston, but anyway, you can even call or come and visit, and we will provide you with all the details as soon as we know what exactly you want to do and what what you're thinking.
Ambassador, I have a question concerning the U.S.'s investment in Egypt compared to, say, China. I know that China has done a lot of investment in Africa, even though the United States may not recognize Egypt as being Africa. Can you please explain if you are seeing the same type of foreign direct investment from the Chinese as it pertains to Egypt?
Well, the Chinese are expanding in all the world. It's not only in Egypt. And you know that Silk Road, they are this big project they are doing. They are investing in all the countries that passes through this road.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course we do have investment from the American government, but as we see it, the American can do more than that. So that's why, and especially in this timing, which it's a very good time to come and work with us. Now we are growing. We have a stable government. I mean, the country is stable. It's easier to come and work. And the Chinese, of course, they do work in all environment. We have a lot of Chinese investment in Egypt, but we would like to see also good American investment in Egypt too. So we are open, encouraging, welcoming inviting you to come and see.
So I would ask you, what type of American businesses or industry is most attractive to you when you have the chance to have a business meeting? Who do you want in the room so that we can make the opportunity great?
Well, we need in all fields, but we already have good contact and good business and good investment in the oil and gas sector. Let me tell you, for instance, Apache investment in Egypt over $10 billion. So now Chevron also access the business and have some new field and some business working in Egypt. So in this we are working. We need in other also sectors, the machinery sector, the technology, the IT, all these sectors are also needed in Egypt. So of course we are welcome, or we welcome all people working in this field or other field to come and work with us. I mean, it's
and is that, Ambassador, why you are located in Houston? Because Houston has a lot of those major industries in which are attractive. You had mentioned oil and gas, and I believe
yes.
Houston has
oil and gas is Houston. Yani, let me tell you that. All the oil and gas companies, the major ones, are here located in Houston. So maybe this is one of the main reasons that we open a consulate here, because we also have this, and we are booming in this sector too, especially the gas sector. We have discovered new fields, very huge, the one called Zohr, and we are also expecting new discoveries in this area, and the oil also. But that's why we have mainly the consulate here. But it's not only the oil and gas we need. We need, I mean, in all other sectors, not only that. And I see that Houston and the areas, surrounding areas, have very good business and very good companies, and we are working on it. But unfortunately, with this COVID thing, we have been stopped a little bit and waiting that things open again so we can start working again with yourself.
Ambassador, has the COVID slowed down the new capital city, in which the video was phenomenal? Well, how do you explain that project now?
Yes, let me tell you, it's, of course it has its impact, but not as much as we were expected. I mean, we were still working very hardly there, with all the distancing and all the measurements need to be taken. But of course, without the COVID, would have done much faster and much more achievements.
Lily, I want to bring you back into the discussion. I was looking at a slide, and it was so when you look at the quality of goods and so forth, and I really like the chair that's in the middle.
Yeah, I like it too.
And oftentimes when people look at the depictions of Egypt, Africa, they typically don't talk about the Black Egyptians that were a part of history, that are part of the land. Is that what I'm seeing there in the middle?
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. So for example, the picture on the left of the chair is those people are also Egyptians, and they are Egyptians, dark skin. They are in the south by a place called Nuba, and they speak their own language. They don't speak really the Egyptian dialect that we have, but they also do. I have this picture because they do a lot of handcrafts as well. But yes, I do think that the Black Egyptians, it's where it started. And there's a lot of conversations about really in that area that include Egypt and some other countries around where all civilizations started. as well. So.
And Lily, please tell us about a little bit more about the details in this slide, because again, you know, when you were able to talk about Egypt, but when I'm looking at the quality of the workmanship, it's really immaculate.
That's true. So basically, so many of the Egyptians inherited the skills a long way from the pharaoh's times. So if you have been to any of the museums that display any of the Egyptian pieces, you will find like how beautiful they have been made. It was not made by a machine or a factory. It was just made by Egyptian humans who are very, very skilled. And this industry still exists. And I have seen a lot of improvement and development in the country, trying to help the artisans and the craftsmen to survive through, you know, being in a very developed society now, and everything is through machines and everything through factories, and you can have it made in China like that. But it's still, those things are so beautiful, and they have a lot of value in them. I was just saying earlier that I bought this chessboard actually, and oh my God, it's so heavy. Like it is so heavy. It's so well made. I have already one for like 5 years or even more, and those things are very, very, very well made. There is a market in Cairo where people go and buy these things. Usually it's more for the foreigners and people like tourists who are coming to visit. But for me as an Egyptian, I love these items, and I would love to own all of them. They're really so beautiful. And so I want to go back to one of the questions you were asking about the industries. I do remember that one of my first jobs, I worked for a communication and IT company. They do all kind of web design, graphic design. They do web development. They do all kind of like communication and marketing. And I worked there for a couple of months, and I was just, you know, trying to see if I really like that field to be a designer or not. But guess what? The company is actually an American company. It was outsourcing in Egypt, and so the owner of that, you know, middle, I would say middle business or small business, is actually American. And but all the employees there are Egyptians, and they all speak English, and they all communicate in English as well. So there's a lot of potential in Egypt for all kind of industries. And as we have been stressing, it's a very cheap labor as well. And for the west side, which has the desert, I have been reading a lot, and so there's a lot of a project. They're trying to cultivate the land, but it's so much money. It's so many $1 billion to cultivate a desert, you know, and create an infrastructure so we can build buildings on that. But they're also building wells, like water wells, to help irrigate the desert. And that way we can have a cultural industry in those places where people are not really living. And the new capital on the east side, it's on the east of Cairo, so it's not really in Cairo. And it's also a big project that cultivating all the desert to create a humongous project like that.
Good. Joel, you had another question. I saw your hand.
Yeah, I have another question. First, Lily, please also sign me up for the whenever you go to visit the museum. I would love to be a part of that. But Ambassador Risk, I had a question about we talked about like the Pan-African Highway And you know how the way the future is going with the electronic cars and things like that. Egypt is really rich in oil and gas. Is there like a strong presence in the electricity cars and things like that nature?
So, what was the question? I mean,
Oh,
what we do this?
yeah. Is there already like, so Egypt is already like well known for their gas. Have they started already thinking about like the future in electronics and things like that?
Yes, of course, we do. We do have many projects in this field, and we are also working. And in oil and gas, we have many companies from many countries working in Egypt. As I mentioned, from the US, we have Apache, Chevron, ExxonMobil. From Europe, we have Eni. From Italy, we have many other companies from several other parts of the world. Also, we are focusing on the IT technology and the software building and the machinery. We would like also to encourage the investment in this, because it's really important with the new capital we have and the smart city we are building. We need this expertise in this field. Regarding the building roads, we already started in Egypt. We are building roads everywhere. Maybe Lily can know that or read that somewhere, that we are building infrastructure, especially the road, in all Egypt, and specifically the long roads we are going to build from the north to the south to connect all our continent together. So look at Europe, for instance. You have roads everywhere. You can go easily from a country to another, which is not in Africa now. We hope we will be able to do this in the future with the help and assistance of all other African countries.
We also have the smart village it's Cairo, 6th of October city. And the smart village, Joel, it's a high technology business district. It has all the I'm sure it has the technology communication ministry there, but it has all the companies that work in the IT sector. It's I'm not sure how big the village is. Maybe 400 fedans or something, but I think it's one of the main places in Egypt. Like there is a place here in America. My guess is in California, if I'm not mistaken, Chris.
The Silicon Valley, if you are.
Yeah, the Silicon Valley. I'm sure I was trying to remember. Yes, and so the smart village is something similar. Maybe it's not as big, but it's where most of the IT companies are located, and
also the Ministry of Communication is there. I mean.
Right. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So last question for the ambassador. So if there are businesses that want to do business with Egypt, what do they need to do besides contact me at the Global Chamber? What do they need to do in order to make sure that their businesses are highlighted to you, and you can look at whether or not they would be a good fit for projects that are happening in Egypt?
They need to introduce themselves to the Egyptian authority through us. So when you come to us, you say, well, this is my portfolio, this is what I can do, and we contact the Ministry of Investment that will direct you on where and how, and we'll start discussing with you directly the details of these projects.
Okay,
so
great.
We are playing a role facilitating for yourself or any other company who wants to go to Egypt.
Thank you so much.
They can also Google the Ministry of Investment Egypt if they just want to have a idea about what they're requesting or what's required.
And they will reply to you. But of course, it's easier to come and discuss with us, and we are more than happy to help. and to assist in this regard.
Well, I'd like to invite you when you come to San Antonio the next time. I'd like to invite to meet you. It would be very nice, and we can establish hopefully some help to you in your mission. So thank you so much today, Ambassador, for joining us today. Lily, I'm going to allow you to close. I'm going to put back up the Dream Week slide so you can again talk about what you want the people to do as it pertains to Dream Week, because I know that that's very important. We have the ability to help to provide awareness, and I think this year's campaign is really it's very interesting. I think that we all can tie into it. So I'm going to put the slide back up for you.
Right.
And again, I appreciate your time and your effort and your energy to make this Globinar very successful. It's because of board members like you that make us shine. It's because of board members like you that make your homeland of Egypt shine. So thank you so much again. And I'm going to give you this opportunity again to tell us what we need to do for Dream Week 2021.
Okay, so Dream Week is to create an environment for civil and civic engagement. Dream Week 2021 is January the 14th to the 24th. The highlights are going to be a speaker series that we are going to host. It's called The Descendants. It's going to be featuring 10 to 15 individuals, descendants of African-American slaves. Also, we are working on another series.
Hold on. Descendants of African-American slaves, so that includes me.
Yes.
All right.
Well, there are so many. We're working on the individuals who will be presenting, but they're going to share their experience, the struggles, the successes, and we also have another speaker series that's about Native Americans. We will be also highlighting some Hispanic individuals in another series. So we have a lot of speaker series coming up. We're working on that at the moment. But just for everyone to know, any community organization or individual who wants to be part of Dream Week and would like to participate, they can go to www.dreamweek.org. They can click on participate. They can host an event or volunteer or sponsor if they are interested. The deadline for application for the events themselves is going to be November 29th. And we're also able to assist as much as we can, helping organizations to get their events on our website. You can call our office 210-444-2315.
Thank you so much. And Global Chamber San Antonio will be participating in Dream Week. We have loved it every year that you've put it on. Thank you, Sho Nakpodia, for being the founder and the visionary for this great celebration of people. And more importantly, we want to now say thank you to the ambassador again. Thank you to all of those who tuned in today. This is Saturday, but yet we're still working because we know you wanted to know more about Egypt. You want to know more about Africa, and hopefully you will share this video. Share it, because we want to make sure that we get the information to the business people who really need this during COVID-19. I also want to ask you to be safe. Protect yourself, mask up, make sure you're washing your hands and doing everything that's possible. The numbers are going up on the rise, but we have to bring them back down through discipline, self-control, and obedience. I'm going to pray for you. You pray for me, pray for us. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.
Thank you all. It was a wonderful presentation. Enjoyed it tremendously. Thanks.